Hello there everybody, how are you doing today beautiful? My name is Joesephyr and welcome to another Should You Pull video for Dissidia Opera Omnia. Now in today's video we have a bit of a weird one because we don't actually know for sure what the banner that we're going to be talking about is. We just know that there is one coming this Friday with a global exclusive event. And I have a rough idea of who that event might contain and what might be on that banner, but obviously a lot of this is going to be pure speculation. So if you'd like to find out more about the banner that's coming out on Friday, or hopefully is coming out on Friday, as well as some other opinions on whether they might pull for those characters, then of course as always stay tuned and keep on watching. Now before we get started, of course don't forget to check out my social media links all in the description box below, including Twitter, Twitch, Discord, Patreon and Instagram. Definitely go follow me on Instagram if you want to learn more about me and my life and my makeup artistry journey and just drawing and all kinds of stuff like that. I will be putting gaming content on there when I can figure out what kind of thing would go well with what's already on there. But if anyone has any advice on Instagram, then I'd be very open to hearing, because it's a very, very new endeavor for me. As for Twitch, well, we've actually met the first goal for my donation drive to San Diego, so a massive thank you for everyone who's helped out with that. And that does mean, for all you DFFOO fans out there, that means I'm going to end up using resources and up to pity, if I have to get Fujin FR. And those of you who know what Fujin FR does, and obviously we will discuss her more when we come to her Should You Pull video, is not a wise course of action to take. But a massive thank you goes out to all of you for that. And another thanks obviously is extended to one of my patrons over on Patreon, which is my members only website where you can get all sorts of different benefits if you'd like to support the channel further. And today that person is going to be Evil Nice Guy, who has me actually as their title card. And this version of me comes from a card game that I used to play years ago that I was actually national champion for. So a card was made out of me, and Evil Nice Guy obviously found that out. So a massive thank you goes out to you and to all of my other patrons for supporting this channel further. And of course, don't forget to check out all of the other content creators and resources out there for Dissidia Opera Omnia, because they all deserve your love too. So who is it that I believe is on this mystery banner? Now, you guys have seen the thumbnail, so it's obviously not much of a stretch for you to kind of guess at what I'm thinking here. But before we go into that reasons why I think it's this banner, let me pull up the slide as to why I think this might be the case. So the slide here says that we're getting the Red Comet event on August the 5th, which dedicates it to a new FR and free first multi-draw. Now, I don't think that this is anything Global First related or anything like that, because if it were a Global First related character or FR or anything like that, there would have been a lot more hype drummed up for it during the community stream than we've seen so far. This is just this is happening. So this, to me, is significant of a banner that's going to be time warping rather than actually brand new. And so for that reason, I personally believe that the banner will contain Terra FR and a bunch of other BTs along with her. So you have Terra FR here, along with her own BT and the rest of her kit, Ramza BT, and Ace BT as well. Now there is another banner that comes out around this sort of time, which contains Laguna, Zack, and Kieran BTs. But because of that slide saying new FR, I don't believe that it's this one. Unless, of course, Terra somehow mixes in with this. But both of these banners were released around the same time as Luna Freya, which isn't due out for the until next month. So that's my reasoning behind this. Obviously, this is very speculative. Things could be different, but I wanted to get out a video to talk about this particular FR, just in case it was that, and at least then you'd have the information available. And if it's not, well, at least we have this video for later. So let's talk about what upgrades are actually happening on this banner. So first things first, we get Ace get his C90. Now Ace doesn't get anything reworked here or anything major in particular, just his C90. So it's more of a rerun for Ace than it is a full-blown rework. So obviously, big shout-outs to Mediu here for their translations over on Reddit. And the only thing that hugely changes here is that Ace gets his attack boosted, he gets his stats boosted, and Jackpot Shot gets multiple HP dumps, or more HP dumps than it had before. Ace was an absolutely pivotal character for a lot of players during the early BT Plus era, and there's a good reason for that. He's still solid. Like, he's providing auras for the party. He's still got a lot of sort of damage capabilities. However, the thing to note here is that because he doesn't really get a rework, the trap that comes off of his LD is still only going to be hitting for 1 HP dump. That's not so bad when you consider multiple enemies and you consider that force time is a thing as well. And obviously all of these characters are getting their force enhancements, more on that in a moment. And you'll notice that, like, you can actually ramp up still a lot of damage with Ace if you're in a fight with multiple enemies. Would I go out of my way to pull for Ace BT here? Probably not if you've not had him before, but if you have Ace, and a lot of people do, you might find you might pull him out of the woodwork again. But before we go into Terra and talking about her brand new FR, I want to point out that Ramza here gets his force enhancements, and this is a character that hugely benefits from having those force enhancements. If you already have him and you already have his BT Plus and all of his gear, you don't have to do anything, and that's wonderful. And Ramza is an incredibly powerful character with the auras he provides, the free turns, the fact that he's got a support-based BT that's actually relevant and is still one of the highest HP cap increases in the game. He's a fantastic character, so you absolutely would not regret putting force enhancement points into Ramza, and you'll almost certainly use him again. So now let's talk about Terra. So Terra doesn't get any other kind of rework, she just gets her FR here. But she does do a lot of damage already. Now there's obvious comparisons to be made with Tidus here. Now there are some differences between Terra and Tidus, but they are both largely related to the same role at the very least. Like, they are both turn hogger characters, they like characters that do off turn damage stood next to them so that they can carry the party until victory. There's a lot of similarities between them for obvious reasons, but then obviously one has to remember that Tidus has more potent debuffs than Terra does. Terra does magic damage rather than Tidus. She actually is slightly better at AoE damage than he is in a lot of ways, purely because her meltdown attack does much better splash damage than a lot of what Tidus does. But honestly, if you already have Tidus, you may find you don't need Terra unless you want another turn hogging character, maybe for lockout content or something like that. Those two characters often tend to be weighed up against one another, but I do think that there is merit in having both of them. And this actually continues with her FR weapon. So, personal stakes here. I may not like the way Kuja plays in Dissidia Opera Omnia, but I still love him. And seeing the FR animation for Terra and Kuja, and they both go into trance and do their bit, that's reason for me to pull on this alone, let alone the fact that it's actually pretty good. So it's instant turn rate, and the force time gives you like force percentage damage when you either use a magic attack command or when using an instant turn rate action, which obviously Terra is going to carry entirely for herself. So you'd be able to go off with all of these things, just going off with instant turn rate, instant turn rate, instant turn rate, and getting 50% damage bonus at a time. Now, this is very, very good, but again, we've seen a lot of this before with Tidus, so if you like that kind of thing, why not have both of them? Or maybe you were like me at one point and I didn't really like the way Tidus played, so maybe you prefer Terra. There's nothing wrong with having one or the other or both. Just because you have one character in a role, it doesn't mean you don't want to have both. But if you're saving for like Charlotta or Luna Freya and you already have a turn hogger character, you might find that you don't particularly need to have Terra. However, I will say this, the value on this banner is pretty exceptional when you consider the fact that there is a new item on there and 3 BTs on there. Now, even if you have the BTs and you just want Terra FR, any BTs you do happen to get, because there's obviously an increased chance of you getting them, means burst tokens for future characters that you might be wanting. And if you didn't get Ramza or Ace, then what a fantastic place to pick them up. Like, particularly Ramza. Ramza is a phenomenal character. It has been pretty much consistently since his release back in the 35 CP era. He's always been powerful, and Terra is a very strong pick. So honestly, if this is the banner that comes out on Friday, if you've got an abundance of resources, this is a pretty good place to put them. Now, obviously, we don't have an event to talk about with this one. We have an event, but we have no idea what's on it, so there's nothing that I can give you in terms of information on the event, so we'll have to wait and see what comes with that. So we'll move on to Would You Pull Instead, which is the section of the video where you, the viewer, get your chance to let your voice be heard and tell everybody whether you would pull on any given banner and why that might be the case. So once again, a massive thank you to all of my patrons for casting their votes and their comments, and let's get straight into some numbers, shall we? Of the 100+ people that we asked, whether people were pulling on Terra and this triple BT banner, assuming of course that is what this banner is. Again, I will say it again because I know people will come for me in the comments if I don't. This may not end up being the banner. Not 100% certain that it is, but I've got a pretty good inclination that it might be. So, whether pulling for Terra or not, 9% of people said they were pulling on this banner with gems, 45% of people said they were pulling with 100 or more tickets, no one said less than 100 tickets, and 45% of people said no. So I think with this banner, it's split so cleanly down the middle because it's either a banner where everyone has everything and don't really care about Terra because they have other means of using similar properties, or they can see the value in the banner and want to use their tickets on it, and a couple of people obviously wanting to use gems as well, because there is value to be had here if you actually want Terra. If you don't want Terra, I don't personally agree with throwing tickets at a banner to try and get BT dupes. I think that there's just much better ways of using your resources that could get you a BT that was new and you didn't have than ones you already did. But if you do want Terra FR, it's a nice extra to add on to it. So let's go into some comments here. J-Dog says, I'll throw some tickets in hopes of Terra's FR. Rams is completely unbuilt, so aiming for his BT at the moment would be an expensive endeavour, while one of my favourite characters is right on the horizon, being Luna Freya. Terra holds a special place in my heart for not only being a favourite character, but also the first BT I ever pulled when I started OO. She's a magic version of Tidus with consecutive turn stealing shenanigans, and her FR functions in a similar way. She'll need more support in Shinryu, but combine her with off-turn damage and a tank and you're golden. I don't have Ace BT, but at this point Ramza and Terra are the real stars of this banner. Ace still has his uses with AoE traps that can deal massive damage during an FR phase, so he's a great option for off-turn damage. This is a particularly great opportunity for newer players to snag 3 exceptional characters that they have the resources to spare. Terra can single-handedly help new players clear several Lufenia missions without much supporting her. That's actually a very good point. This is a fabulous banner for newer players. There's so much kind of consolidated in one place. Maybe you picked up Tidus, therefore Ace would be really good for you. Maybe you picked up Camelot and you don't, or you've gotten some more recent characters and you don't have any much in the way of support characters. Ramza is amazing for you. Maybe you're lacking a damage dealer because you're brand new and you don't have Tidus. Terra is amazing for you. It's just a really solid value banner, and if you're going for Terra FR, then yeah, I can see there being a lot of value here for newer players. Gemekai says, assuming it is Terra, then I'm throwing gems, as she's a fan favourite character while she's basically just magic Tidus. That isn't a bad thing, and she could be good to have around. Ramza is also still really good, especially once he gets force enhancements, and Ace's off-turn damage is respectable even if he has a limited amount of it. All in all, a gem pull for me. I would not take Ace for his off-turn damage unless you were against 3 enemies. If you're against 1 or 2 enemies, maybe 2, I'd say there are other options that are better. And I do think that a big shout out to Cell of the Tomfrey Troop here, actually. But I consider Terra to be like magic Tidus for a long while. And I do think that that's a little bit of a discredit to her, because there are differences between the two of them. There are distinctions between them, and there are a lot of similarities. But as I said earlier in the video, there's nothing wrong with wanting both of them. There is merit to having a magical version of a turn-stealing character that is supported by off-turn damage dealing, because she will circumvent certain things that Tidus wouldn't, and vice versa. Although, if we are generalising it down to its absolute purest form, they are similar in how they perform. And then finally, G-Terra says, I know people put detailed reasons in here usually. On the occasion, I post I do usually as well. This time is different. Look at my name. You know what's happening here. Pull until the FR is acquired, though probably with tickets as I have literally everything else on the banner. Gems, in my opinion, are best used on new units when you're an older player who has pretty much every LD. I actually agree with this. Like, I would like Terra FR, but I'm not willing to spend gems on this banner. Like, I think that for me, as well as what G-Terra is saying, it's more beneficial when you have more items you need from a banner to use gems on it. When you're gunning for a singular item, I prefer using tickets personally and being like, okay, well, if I don't get it, that's fine, because at least then when a banner comes around that has more items I do want on it, that will be more beneficial to me by using gems. So I actually agree with this, but especially considering that, you know, somebody with Terra in their name is feeling that it's worth using tickets on this banner and not gems, then that should tell you everything that you want to know about this banner. So now, for the big question of the banner, should you be pulling for Terra or the 3 BTs that are available on this banner if it turns out that this is the banner that we get on Friday? So I would consider this banner to be a great place to dump some extra tickets into if you've got everything that you want already and there's just a nice banner there for you to dump those resources into. I probably wouldn't put gems into it personally, but there are a lot of fans of Terra out there that probably would. And Terra is a great damage dealer still. She loves to carry her teams through, like, just doing her thing. Meltdown, 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 and then Chaos Waves, BT, FR, throw it all into the mix. Her FR continues her trend in a very similar fashion to how Tidus does for him, for his kit. So, do damage, take extra turns, do more damage. So, there is a lot of simplicity when it comes to Terra's kit. But I think that if people explore the capabilities, like put her with the likes of Garnet, put her with the likes of even Ace, or like anyone that does off-turn damage, your Cisnes, your Canes, all of that stuff, she'll put in the work, and she'll do so in a very strong way. And then the other 2 characters that are on here are also pretty exceptional in their own right as well, particularly Ramza. The weird thing here is that Ramza doesn't actually get an awful lot from this banner outside of force enhancements, but the fact that he gets them is magnificent for him, considering all the different things that he does. He has delay in his kit, he has healing in his kit, he has bravery batteries, he's got strong auras, he has one of the strongest HP cap-ups in the game with his BT+. There's a lot going for Ramza, and like him getting force enhancements means that Galvanize is now a much better button to press as well because it doesn't do damage. It's not instant turn rate, sadly, it's high turn rate, so that might be off-putting to some people, but it's still a thing. And then Ace, while he's not like Wonder Child like he was when he first came out with his BT+, he's still good. Like, he's still got party auras, his BT+ has still got good auras on it, and then you've got that off-turn damage from his LD trap that will trigger on every turn. And while I wouldn't use this in every fight, I would use a different off-turn damage dealer in particularly like a single target fight, somebody like Kane or something like that. In 3 enemy fights where you've got these 3 procs going off consistently, you might find he might surprise you during like force time or something like that. But none of the characters in this banner get existing upgrades to their kit that's anything major. Like, Ace gets a bit of an upgrade to his EX, which is useful, but past that, not many increase in terms of HP dumps. So if you add it all together, you might find that Tidus has a higher damage ceiling than Terra does with his BT effect active, because obviously he's getting more HP dumps than she is. But if you support Terra correctly, she's still going to do really well for you. And because her like FR is so similar to Tidus's, there might be people that are off-put by that, particularly if they have Tidus, if they're saving for the likes of Charlotta or Luna Freya, or even somebody like Reno or Fujin if you're me. So like, if you've got an abundance of resources, I'd say this was a really cool banner to pull on, but if you're struggling, I might consider saving instead. So that's going to be all for today's video. A little bit shorter than usual because we don't know what the event or anything is going to be. But let me know in the comments below what you think of Terra and her BT carrying friends on this banner. Do you even think that this is the banner that we're going to see on Friday? Do you think it might be something completely different? Or maybe there'll be some mix of like the Zac Laguna Kieran banner? Maybe some of that will get mixed in somewhere? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. And for the time being, that's going to be it from me. So come back and find me on Friday on Twitch, and we will be going through this event and seeing if I was right or if I completely messed up, almost as bad as I messed up during my last clear during Ursula's Lost Chapter. So if you want to watch that and laugh at me, then you can go ahead and do that as well. Thank you ever so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for notifications of any future videos I might be making. And that's going to be it from me. So have a great day, beautiful, and I'll see you next time. Take care.